Welcome back to the Cam Rogers Show. Thank you so much, Jordan, for that update. We've got Harris Rubenstein alongside. Of course, have FanDuel alongside for the Cam Rogers Show as well. Harris, we've got breaking news to get through. The Hornets and Dwight Howard are no more. They are finalizing a deal to send Dwight to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Timothy Mozgov, 2 second-rounders, and cash considerations. Can't be official until July 6th, so you got to wait until then. The Nets will save $17 million on the deal for the 2019-2020 campaign, allowing them to use 2 maximum slots, so watch out for the Brooklyn Nets. When you saw this, Harris, what was your reaction?
My reaction was just was a giggle. I mean, this is Dwight Howard's 4th team now since, with the Houston Rockets, and he got traded again. Now he goes to the Hawks and the Hornets and now the Nets. I mean, the entire Eastern Conference is just passing around Dwight Howard's contract like a hot potato, which isn't really surprising, seeing it's just one of the worst contracts in basketball. He's not an effective player really anymore in terms of on-court production and just how he helps you win. I know his stat line was pretty nice last year, but overall, Dwight Howard doesn't bring that much to the table for a contender. It's no surprise that the Nets made a move on him, but I will say this. The Nets have made some fantastic moves over the past couple years in trying to move their cap situation forward. Guess what? They now have 2 max salary slots going into next offseason with a massive free agency class. So I think the Nets did a good job here, and the Hornets have to start shedding salary. But I'll tell you one thing, Cam. Kemba Walker might just be next.
Yes, we shall see. He has been at the center of many trade rumors out there. Harris, we'll get through some trade rumors here. We've got the Rubenstein trade machine as well.
Cook it up, baby.
Back by popular demand. Let's talk Kemba Walker, though.
Let's do it.
What do you think?
So with Kemba Walker, it really comes down to what direction the Hornets want to go in terms of just their direction as a team. I mean, do they want to keep Kemba Walker as just a franchise player and kind of middle around the lower half of the Eastern Conference, or do they just want to do a full-on rebuild? And I think what we saw with the Dwight Howard trade today is that a full-on rebuild might actually be what they're looking for. And with Kemba Walker, the great thing about it is that you can attach a bad contract to him and still get a first-round pick and players back. But I think they need to use Kemba Walker as any team would use a first-round pick. You have to package him with a bad contract, and I believe that's what the Hornets are going to end up doing, maybe even on draft night tomorrow.
So before we get to your Rubenstein trade machine here with the Cavs, does Kemba going to the Cavs basically predicate on LeBron staying?
No, it doesn't. I think that Kemba Walker could be part of either. He could either be part of the new crew that comes in with LeBron James or just the start of a new run at the East title for the Cavs. Kemba Walker is a fantastic player. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Whether or not you can win a title with him is another question, but I think you can add Kemba Walker to a good Cavs team, maybe draft someone, bring someone in down low. They need shooting, but I think for the most part, you only trade Kemba trade for Kemba if you think LeBron is coming back. If you're the Cavs, I don't know if you can give up the 8th pick if LeBron doesn't come back.
All right, so let's trade machine it up right now. You got Cleveland getting Kemba, and of course the Hornets, that first round selection at number 8 overall, Clarkson and Love as well.
Yeah, so the entire basis of this is the fact that the Cavs have wanted to move Kevin Love for the entire offseason. They're going to want to move him for the rest of the summer as well. So they get to do that here. They do have to sacrifice that Brooklyn pick, but they do get rid of Jordan Clarkson's contract, which they just cannot maintain. They get rid of Kevin Love's deal, and in return, they get a really nice point guard in Kemba Walker. They get Nick Batum, who can slot in at either the 2 or the 3. His contract isn't that great, but he's actually a really good player to surround LeBron James with. He's a good shooter. He's a good perimeter defender, and I think he matches up well with what the Cavs are looking for at the wing. They need more wings, especially next to LeBron. J.R. Smith just was completely overmatched in the NBA Finals and throughout the playoffs, really. And I think that getting rid of Kevin Love is a good thing for the Cavs. I think it transitions them more into a modern-day NBA style, more shooters, more perimeter defense, less post-up game, and a lot less ISO. I know that people like Kevin Love. I know that people look at him as underrated, but so many years in a row, this guy has completely faltered in the playoffs and completely failed them. And if you're the Hornets, taking a flyer on Kevin Love isn't a bad thing. Maybe you take him and you flip him for another asset. You flip him for a younger player. Maybe he goes to Portland. You try to work something out there, maybe to the Nuggets, Utah. There's a lot of different options that you can do with Kevin Love if you're the Charlotte Hornets. But I personally think that this solves a lot of issues for both sides. Gets rid of the Nick Batum contract for the Hornets. They still get a first-round pick back for Kemba. And and they also get a nice young guard in Jordan Clarkson and Kevin Love to maybe flip for another asset. This gives everything that the Hornets want for Kemba Walker, and it gives the Cavs everything that they would want in a trade for Kevin Love.
I don't think we're talking about this enough, Harris, but we need to watch what Cleveland does with that number 8 overall selection. Because it could give us a LeBron hint, if you will.
I think we're going to see 2 or 3 trades inside of the top 5 and maybe 4 or 5 in the top 10. And I think the Cavs are going to end up being one of those trades. I think they're going to look at this number 8 overall pick when it comes up to them, and they're going to see, all right, we have the option of taking Colin Sexton, maybe a Wendell Carter Jr., maybe one of the Bridges. Do we want one of those guys, or do we just want to flip it for an NBA All-Star? Like, the Cavs are not going to have a lot of top 10 picks if LeBron James comes back for the next couple years. This Brooklyn pick is the best asset they have. And after all they've done with trading for current assets, I cannot see them actually taking a guy and having him have to develop over the years if they want LeBron to come back.
All right, let's talk Kawhi, because there's a lot in regards to him right now. Maybe the Boston Celtics can make a move here, and San Antonio doesn't have to trade him to LA.
I want to make this clear. I understand that the reports in the past couple days have been that Kawhi Leonard has said to the Spurs and has said to other teams that he wants to go to the Lakers and plans on signing a free agent deal with them in 2019. But let's break down exactly why Kawhi Leonard wants to go to Lakers, outside of him actually being from there, because I think that has a minimal impact overall. I think the reason he wants to go to LA is because he knows that other stars are going to come there and play with him so that he doesn't have to be the alpha dog on this team. I mean, look, Kawhi Leonard does not really have the attitude of an NBA superstar. He's never had it. He's a quiet, kind of kept-in guy. I think that the Lakers offer him an opportunity to be the number 2 guy while still being a superstar. The Celtics also do that. They give him a good coach, a good city. They surround him with stars. People will want to come play in Boston, and they're going to be a title contending team every single year.
But it's not LA.
It is not LA, but I think the only other team he would possibly think about signing an extension with at this point is the Celtics, or maybe the Clippers, but that doesn't count because he's not going to the Clippers. So I think it's the Celtics or the Lakers right now, and I just don't think the Lakers can offer a better package for Kawhi. I don't. I really don't think they have enough assets.
All right, well, Harris, let's take a look at this package you got going here, including Marcus Smart, Rozier as well.
So I originally had it being Jaylen Brown along with Marcus Smart and Marcus Morris plus one of the 2019 picks. I changed my trade right before I came on here because I realized they don't need to trade Jaylen Brown because they have so many first-round picks next year. So you do a sign and trade with Marcus Smart, you add Terry Rozier to it, Marcus Morris, Gershon Yabusele, and 2 top 10 picks next year. That's the Sacramento Kings first-round pick and the Memphis Grizzlies first-round pick. Both of them are likely going to be top 10 picks. So you get 2 top 10 picks, a good young point guard in Terry Rozier, a starter in Marcus Smart, and then you move on from there.
How about that lineup?
It's an incredible lineup for the Celtics. I mean, this is what we could see with the Celtics going next year. Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. We've been hearing rumors that maybe for the Knicks they could get, Kawhi and Porzingis and Kyrie. If you're Kawhi Leonard and you want to win championships along with being comfortable and being respected by your organization, I just think that going to the Boston Celtics is your best bet. Now, there is a universe where the Spurs demand Jaylen Brown, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I think if you're the Spurs, you ask for Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, and here's an example of what the Spurs lineup would look like with Jaylen Brown. Now, I think this would take one of the first-round picks off the table for the Spurs, but again, this Celtics team has more assets to trade than any other team in the NBA by a considerable
So you
margin.
were saying that the Boston Celtics probably will have the better offer for San Antonio compared to the Lakers?
Unequivocally, not even close. They can offer They can offer 4 first-round picks next year for Kawhi Leonard.
There's also a difference between can and will.
That's very true. And Trader Danny is, Danny Ainge, nicknamed Trader Danny. He is very finicky about trading first-round picks. He will only trade them if it's completely necessary. He has really only offered them up for the likes of Paul George, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler. Like, he doesn't just dole these bad boys out. So if he's going to go after Kawhi Leonard, the first-round picks are going to be on the table. They've been collecting assets for years, waiting for superstars to become available. They did it with Kyrie Irving. I think they're going to try to make a move for Kawhi Leonard. They've tried to trade for every single superstar that's been on the market for the past 4 years. They're waiting for a guy.
All right, so we'll see what happens. Kawhi is certainly worth monitoring as we go throughout all the rumors across the NBA. And thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the Cam Rogers Show today. It's an awesome week to sign up on FanDuel. World Cup and Major League Baseball contests for new players only. Play for real cash while you learn the ropes and get $10 free when you make your first deposit. Use the website fanduel.com/chatsports to receive that bonus. All right, next up here, Harris, let's talk the Clippers. They can package together 12 and 13.
I think they're going to package 12 and 13 to move up in the draft. I think if you're the Clippers at this point, those two young players are nice, but they have a stacked roster right now. The roster is filled from that Rockets trade with Chris Paul. It's completely filled to the brim, and they're not looking for depth guys anymore. They don't need depth. They need stars. They need a great young player to build the future of this franchise around. They have 2 lottery picks, plus a bunch of good contracts and a couple expiring deals. I think they're looking to move up in the draft. And I will say this, Cam. We all of a sudden hear, a couple weeks ago that the Clippers are highly interested in Luka Doncic. And then all of a sudden we hear yesterday that the Hawks want Luka Doncic when it has not been reported at all that they want Luka. Sounds like someone is trying to bait the Clippers into a trade to me.
I.e. the Hawks.
I.e. the Hawks. And I think if you're the Hawks, this gives you a great opportunity. They have so many picks this year. They have 3 first-round picks already. They have number 3 and then 2 outside of the lottery, including the last pick in the first round. With this one, this jumps up to 4 first-round picks. They can jump up back into the top 5 or the top 10 if they want to. And they also get rid of Kent Bazemore's contract, which they desperately need to do. So the Clippers, they get number 3 overall to draft Doncic. They get Kent Bazemore, who's going to be a decent bench guy. The Hawks get 2 first-round picks and a nice wing player in Tobias Harris. I think for the Hawks, this might be a little bit light of a return. Don't be surprised if they ask the Clippers for maybe another player. Maybe they ask them for a guard in return, like a Patrick Beverley or maybe a Milos Teodosic. But I think the Hawks and the Clippers are going to make a trade for the top 5. The Hawks have been very adamant about wanting to make a trade, maybe to get out and collect more future assets. This is the trade for them, and I think the Clippers are going to be their target.
Where does DeAndre Jordan fall into all this?
It's difficult to say, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Clippers want to trade into the top 5. They know that DeAndre Jordan is probably leaning towards declining his player option. But you say, hey, we're going to bring in Luka Doncic next year. We're returning a really good roster that, if they stay healthy, is definitely a playoff team along with Doc Rivers. I think that getting a top 3 pick in the draft will be enough for DeAndre to accept his player option. Maybe not enough to get him to sign an extension this summer, but I think it'd be enough to at least take his option.
All right, so I talked about it earlier in the show, Harris. The Raptors perhaps trading into the top 10.
Blow it up!
Do it?
Time to blow it up.
Oh,
Let's do
God.
it. Blow
Come on,
it
Harris.
up.
Really?
Everyone's on the table. Blow it up. This team can't win a title. They can't do it.
But DeRozan and Lowry, they don't have a core?
No, it's not that they don't have a core. It's that their core players are bad in the playoffs. It's like we get a lot of these NBA players throughout history of guys who are great regular season players and just fold in the playoffs. It happened to the Knicks for their entire franchise history. They get all these guys who can't do anything in the playoffs. And the Raptors are in that same vein. DeMar DeRozan, for the 4th year in a row, has proven that he cannot get it done in the postseason. Kyle Lowry, same concept, can't get it done in the postseason. It is time for them to blow it up, trade everything away, get some top picks and some young players.
All right, well, Rubenstein trade machine here with the New York Knicks.
So this doesn't involve Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan yet. Now, you can instantly slide Kyle Lowry or DeRozan into this one, but this is for the Raptors to get a top 10 pick because they want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That has been the rumor for the past couple days. That is their guy at 10. I think that they'll end up moving Kyle Lowry during the actual draft. But for the Raptors and Knicks, I think that the Knicks get 3 quality young players, a first-round pick next year on a team that's blowing it up. The Raptors get number 9 overall, and Ron Baker, who's just a little contract coming off a player option. But if you're a Knicks fan and you're looking at that saying, we're giving up number 9 overall for those guys, you're getting 3 players who, all very good, especially at their age. They're all cheap. Both Anunoby and DeLon Wright have contracts of 3 years and under $2 million.
That's nothing.
That is music to the Knicks' ears. 2 wing players at under, the veteran minimum, basically. Like, that's the kind of stuff that the Knicks need. I know that they want a player at number 9 overall, but if there's not a star on the board, get some young players, get some future assets, and move it down the line a little bit. You're not going to win next year anyway. Get some young players. And Noonby would be a great fit on their defensive rotation. DeLon Wright was a really good backup guard for the Raptors this year. Pascal Siakam can be a good rotation guy until Kristaps comes back, and then he can fill in for Enes Kanter as well. 3 young players, a first-round pick, and all they have to give up is the number 9 pick in the draft, plus an expiring contract in Ron Baker, who they probably don't want anyway.
Ivan via YouTube Live says that, he doesn't really like that.
That's fair, and I totally understand that. But if you're the Raptors and the Knicks, this solves a lot of issues. It gives the Knicks a bunch of cheap contracts to build around, plus a future first-round pick. If you're the Raptors, you get your top 10 pick to take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If it looks a little light, maybe for what the Knicks are receiving, look, the Raptors have a lot of good players and a lot of expiring contracts that they can move around. And I think that they could add on to it. Maybe they make it a Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan trade. I don't think the Knicks want to do that. They want young players and they want future assets. They get that, and they have to give up 1 pick. That's it.
All right, one more trade to get through with the Raptors, but first, you are watching The Cam Rogers Show presented by FanDuel. Get started with FanDuel, guys. Make a deposit. You will instantly get a free $10. FanDuel.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports as well when you sign up. All right, so Raptors blowing it up, perhaps. Could DeMar DeRozan be at the centerpiece of all this?
He has to be at this point. I mean, he has to be. You have to move DeMar DeRozan if you want to have just a future in general with this team. I mean, look, I think the hardest part with DeMar DeRozan is that he plays such a weird style of basketball that isn't very modern. A lot of mid-range twos, not a great three-point shooter, but he still puts up 23 points per game. But I think if you're the Raptors, you just can't really pay his contract anymore at his age, especially if you're trying to blow it up. So with that, Cam, I mean, if you're the Raptors and you want to get a young player in return for DeRozan, probably will have to accept some sort of big contract along with that young player, but they got to move DeRozan. He has to be the first one before they blow it up. Kyle Lowry, I think, is going to be on the move draft night as well. Maybe they move him for a top 10 pick. I think both DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry are not on the Raptors by the start of next season.
How about this trade, Harris? Andrew Wiggins going to the Raptors. DeRozan goes to the T-Wolves.
Bring him back to Canada, baby. I think that Minnesota Timberwolves, if they get rung up by the Raptors at this trade, they instantly say yes. Instantly. And I think the Raptors accept this as well. It allows them to keep a player who, maybe not a superstar, but Wiggins is a very well-known name, especially in Canada, especially in Toronto, where he's from. So they get the Toronto kid, they bring him back to Canada, they ship off DeMar DeRozan's contract, they do bring in Wiggins' contract, which isn't great, but if you're blowing it up and you're the Raptors, you are okay giving Wiggins that contract because he's going to end up being your primary scorer. Maybe giving him that role allows him to really reach his full potential. But for the Timberwolves, I mean, DeMar DeRozan is such a better fit for this team than Andrew Wiggins. Such a better fit. I mean, you add him at the 2, you put him next to Butler, maybe you'd start finding out a way to get Taj Gibson out of that lineup, but Teague, DeRozan, and Butler is an amazing top 3 on both sides of the ball. Versatile players, can defend multiple positions. I think we saw last year with the T-Wolves that when Jimmy Butler went down, they just didn't really have a way to win a lot of games. I mean, they went 500 without Butler, and it pushed them all the way down to the 8th seed in the West. If Jimmy Butler gets hurt again, you now have DeMar DeRozan and Karl-Anthony Towns. You're going to be just fine.
All right, it's not a bad lineup. I mean, no, I think it's a win-win on both sides.
I think it is a win-win for both sides, and I think it's an even bigger win for the Raptors.
Adam Lopez says good trade, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think with Kyle Lowry, I have him on there because in the spectrum of this trade, we haven't moved him yet. But you move Kyle Lowry, you take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can move around a couple pieces as well. I think that they're really going to search for a way to get rid of Serge Ibaka's contract as well. But with Wiggins, it gives the Raptors a piece to build around for the future, who, again, I can't stress this enough. The dude is from Toronto. Like, he is the Toronto basketball prospect. He is the LeBron of Toronto. He's been known around there since he was an 8th grader. He is a superstar in that city, and bringing him back there would be such a great move for Toronto basketball in general. I know that Toronto fans are probably like, but we were the 1 seed last year, and we made it all the way to the Eastern Conference semifinals again. But how many years can you consecutively get blown off the face of the planet in the playoffs with these same players?
To your point, what you just said there, will you ever again say to an audience that, yeah, a team just got the number 1 seed, but they got to blow it up? Will you ever say that again, or is it just the Raptors?
You know what? It actually has happened a couple times in NBA history, maybe not by the way that the Lakers wanted it to, or by any team. I mean, the Lakers had to blow it up after, with everything going on between Shaq and Kobe. I mean, the Celtics in the middle, right at the end of the Big Three run, they traded away everyone a couple years before they really hit their downslide to the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, it's happened before, and it'll happen again. Once you lose as many times consecutively in the playoffs as the Raptors had, you got to start thinking about this. I like Nick Nurse, who's the new coach they brought in, but is Nick Nurse really going to be the difference between them getting to the NBA Finals and not?
Probably not.
It's not going to happen. With the Sixers and the Celtics being the great teams they're going to be next year, maybe LeBron comes back to the Cavs. Blow it up, Raptors. It's time.
All right, folks, you guys are watching the Cam Rogers Show presented by FanDuel. We have breaking news on the program. We are revisiting it. Charlotte is in the process of finalizing a deal to send Dwight Howard to the Brooklyn Nets for Timothy Mozgov, 2 second-rounders, cash considerations.
This is the first trade of so many that we are going to get this offseason, including in the draft tomorrow. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think we're going to get 2 to 3 trades in the top 5, maybe 4 or 5 in the top 10, and maybe double-digit trades in the entire first round tomorrow. But this entire summer is going to be all about trades. What's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard? Is Kyrie Irving going to get moved by Boston? What's going to happen with Karl Anthony Towns? We haven't heard a lot about that. Paul George, LeBron James, DeMarcus Cousins. There's going to be so much action this offseason, and Dwight Howard getting moved is a great way to kick it off, because what kind of NBA offseason would it be if Dwight Howard didn't get traded?
Well, exactly. Will be his 4th team in 4 seasons, Harris. Charlotte, Atlanta, Houston back in 2015.
He has officially tied Shaquille O'Neal for 6 teams that he's played for in his NBA career. Good for you, Dwight Howard. I mean, obviously not the same player that Shaq is, but I will say
that on the old resume.
Not many probable Hall of Fame players to get traded as many times as Dwight Howard has. And I know it's a little bit strange to say that Dwight Howard is a Hall of Famer. I still think that Dwight Howard's going to end up being a Hall of Famer. The amount of numbers that guy put up throughout his entire career is just outrageous.
Why do I think you're going to get ripped up in the YouTube
comments? They can rip me up. I'm not saying he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're not going to see Dwight Howard get there, unanimously. But wait a couple of years, wait for the nostalgia of Dwight Howard to come back, and he'll make it to the Hall.
All right, folks, you guys have been watching the Cam Rogers Show presented by FanDuel. Harris Rubenstein alongside to wrap up the program. One final thank you to FanDuel. Head on to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Sign up today. Leave a comment with your username, and I will challenge you to my golf game this week. All right, folks, for Harris Rubenstein, I am Cam Rogers. We'll see you guys Friday morning.